Welcome to the final episode of Between Two Nerds. I am Nick Stowe. I'm the state CTO. I am transitioning my career to go and do something different. So I say this is the final episode of Between Two Nerds. I do have my guest today is James Galvin, the Emerging Technology Program Manager here at WaTech. Now, if James does well enough today in this session, James, you may take up the mantle and continue hosting Between Two Nerds. So no pressure. But, if this goes well, you may be in this seat next time.
Those are some big shoes to fill, Nick. Definitely. It'd be my honor to.
Thanks. I'm going to start off with a super easy question. I am curious about why you've brought all of these Minecraft figures, but we'll get to that later.
We will get to it.
Okay, great.
We will get to it.
So let me start off with an easy one. What is emerging technology?
Well, emerging technology is obviously a big scope. I think of emerging technology as any new, novel, innovative advancement that can really materially impact either the way you work or the way you live. Mm-hmm. And I think of it through the viewpoint of what can have a benefit for the state of Washington. When you think of emerging technologies, it's the normal ones come up. A lot of blockchain and crypto, robotics, autonomous driving, drone technology, RPA, which stands for robotic process automation, quantum computing, and of course the big one, artificial intelligence.
Mm. So those punch cards I used to use when I was an intern, we wouldn't classify those as emerging technology. So really focused on modern kind of evolutionary technology that maybe some of us have heard of or haven't.
I think it goes back to the definition, or how I see it, is the technology novel, new? Is it advancing? And is it going to have a significant change and impact in the way that we work and live? And that's where the technologies that I named, it's not just someone's creating a new gaming solution. Yeah. These are technology changes around quantum, around blockchain, around artificial intelligence that's going to impact everything we do in our lives.
What about from a community perspective? Is there any example across the state? I think Katie may have touched on it a little bit around this thing called the community of practice. That's right. But tell me more about what's going on there.
Yeah, that's right. And it's not just among the state. We are working across other states. So we're not in this alone. A lot of states we collaborate with very closely, which are having similar challenges, as well as similar opportunities. So we learn about best practices. We come together on what are the commonalities and the common approaches for similar use cases and similar challenges. You mentioned the AI community of practice, and that is a fantastic community which provides a safe space for different parties to come together to discuss both the challenges and opportunities and cross use cases. So the community of practice is made up of not only state agencies, but also local level as well. It includes education, public utilities, public sector, and we come together once a month. There's different subcommittees on privacy, risk, and use cases, and we really just hash through what's going on in emerging technologies, in AI, and collaborate to deliver better experiences to residents.
Yeah, I really like that statewide public sector collaborative approach is something that we've been asked about by other states as a model of kind of a collective approach to one common set of technology. So really would like to see that continue to be successful. So really glad you mentioned that. One other area I'd really love if you could spend a little bit of time on is on use cases. And so especially in the areas, from you're so close to the almost the fault line or the intersection of agency business challenges that they're trying to solve to improve the services they provide to our residents and emerging technology. Are there a couple of use cases that you've either seen or been working on that are particularly exciting or promising, or ones that you just kind of want to share?
Oh, thank you. That's really the crux of this, right? Is we're trying to use these technologies to benefit the citizens, the residents of Washington, as well as deliver on the mission of the agencies that we work with. And one of them that I love talking about, and I know you've talked about as well, is the state's use of geospatial data, artificial intelligence, and other emerging technologies to detect wildfires. So if you think of the scenario for wildfire detection is it's August here in Washington, wildfires, there's red flag warnings. What we've done is stood up different AI-enabled cameras. So these are about, I think, 30 different cameras across the state now.
And when you say we, that's...
It's the Department of Natural Resources as well as a lot of different jurisdictions. So they work with local fire fighting jurisdictions as well to coordinate and triangulate sending resources out to fires. So what these towers do though, and these cameras are really cool, is that they use algorithms to be able to determine whether or not that's a puff of smoke from a new wildfire, or is it dust, which is a false alarm, or is it a low cloud? And they're able to use these different cameras, triangulate the information, and really quickly find a new start or a new fire, and being able to send resources and first responders to that location so that they can respond accordingly. They overlay this with things like GIS information, graphical information.
GIS, you mean like Google Maps?
You like Google Maps, like the mapping. So,
well, I guess at this point, everyone will have watched all of the Between Two Nerds episodes, so they will have watched the one with Joanne. They'll know everything about GIS.
That's exactly right. And so what you're able to do is overlay these maps with that fire data, so you can look at predictions and analytics to be able to determine where are wildfires most likely to strike, where is the wildfire going, and then put these maps that say, well, maybe these are structures which we want to protect, or maybe this is going into a different jurisdiction and we need to get resources and firefighters from that jurisdiction onto that fire. Other use cases, there's so many being used across the state, everything from permitting, increasing the permitting process, to language translations, to different chatbots of all sorts, internal and external. And what we're really doing is also looking at broader pilots. So we just wrapped up a 3-month pilot around giving AI assistance to hundreds of different staff across 18 agencies, just to test things out, to see if AI as a tool could be useful for them in their day-to-day work. We wrapped up a 3-month project pilot with them, and over 71% of people responded that it would be a useful tool at work. And they said it could save them 1 to 2 hours on general by just being able to summarize things and do things that you typically use ChatGPT for.
I like those two outcomes. One of them focused on the latter, agency, improving the effectiveness and the efficiency of the use of time of agency staff. And the other one around wildfire detection is improving our detection and response time so that we can protect, communities, community investments, some of our culturally significant assets across the state. So I really love those two use cases. So I appreciate the kind of context and all the information that you've provided on AI and what the state's doing with AI. When you think about the portfolio of emerging technologies, I know AI and generative AI are just one of them. Is there another emerging technology or combination of emerging technologies that you are really excited about or see in the future could have a great impact, positive impact on the residents and communities within the state?
That's a great question. Definitely around devices and being on the edge. So we talk about the Internet of Things, or IoT, and there's many applications for that. The Department of Transportation, we all know that traffic is a problem here in the state, but you can use devices to be able to better track traffic flows. So cameras and sensors to be able to determine when traffic is actually occurring and be able to adjust things like lights. Along that same IoT is we're using it across the state in doing things like identification of waves at the coast. So you're able to predict erosion and find that, well, we thought erosion was occurring at this pace, but they're using sensors and waves to determine that erosion's occurring quicker. One of my favorite ones is using vision to find seagrass in the Puget Sound. So this is a fantastic use case of, we all love our orcas here in the state, and orcas like to eat salmon. Salmon are dependent on eating things in the seagrass. So using different devices and IoT to be able to scan the seafloor with these boats to determine the health of the seagrass, which determines the health of the salmon, which impacts the health of our orcas.
I really love the broad kind of different sets of outcomes, improving the health of our, really the health of our sanity as we're going through traffic, and improving the flow of traffic so that we can get to, Washingtonians can get to the places they need to go quicker, the health of our environment and the different components of our ecosystem. I love that analogy, so it's a great one. So I finally have to ask, you brought Minecraft characters. Please, can I ask you why? And maybe for the audience, if they don't know, explain what Minecraft is.
Well, I wanted to, in the emerging technologies, one of the biggest use cases that we're seeing still revolves around the concept of chatbots. So chatbots are used across the state for a wide variety, and it's not the chatbots that you might see if you go to a website where you type in, I need help with my order.
Yeah, I just did that yesterday and I got nothing.
And you got nothing.
It was a private sector chatbot. So.
A private sector chatbot. Yeah. All right. Yeah, definitely the state's going to do a better job of that. And we are working on that. We are working on here at WaTech with our state website in being able to provide a better experience.
The resident portal.
Resident portal to be able to do better experience. So you don't have to try to figure out exactly what you need to type in to find the service, but be able to just use natural language and find what you want. There's also lots of chatbots internal. So these are things that state staff are using, agency staff, to be able to do things like find my HR policy quicker, or legal documents, or policy, or customer service, or complaints. The list goes on and on about there's lots of volumes of data out there and lots of different documents, and can we use these chatbots to be able to get the information quicker. I'm getting to the Minecraft, I promise. And so what I wanted to do was think that as part of the emerging technology, it's not just chatbots anymore. Most of us have used ChatGPT, and you've typed in prompt and gotten responses back. But really the world is becoming more, or that technology is becoming more agentic, so agents. And the difference between that and what people use in a chatbot is when you type into ChatGPT, you put a prompt and you get a response. You put a prompt and you get a response. You do prompt engineering to try to get a better response. Agents can work autonomously. So since this is a Between Two Nerds and we like gaming, I thought I would bring in the world of Minecraft to explain agents and what they can do. So in gaming, there's the concept of NPCs. An NPC is called a non-player character. And if any of us have gamed, we've all come across these, and they become smarter.
It's like when I'm going on a quest, and then I see maybe the town mayor, and the town mayor gives me a quest or something. That is an NPC.
That is an NPC.
It's not played by a person.
That is an NPC.
I'm with you so far.
And what NPCs do is they provide a gaming experience. They enrich the environment that the game is in. In Minecraft, you are a player in it, and there's lots of these NPCs. And the NPCs can be equated to, it's a great analogy for what agents are. So in the world of Minecraft, you have what are called villagers. And so villagers are very helpful mobs, short for mobs. What is that? And they are used to provide value to the player. So they sit there, they're helpful. They do services like farming, trading, navigation. They give you potions. They're helpful. So think of this agent as being helpful to the player in it. There's also my favorite mob, which is the Iron Golem. So the Iron Golem can be put autonomously. So you put them in play, and then they protect your area and protect you from harm. And effectively, the player doesn't need to interact with that NPC. They're doing things on behalf of that player in it. So when we look at Minecraft, there's lots of these different agents that enrich the experience, but the player is always in control. It's always Minecraft. It's always their environment. And at the end of it, I am Steve, right? So that is the analogy, is if we bring this back to the real world, these agents are being able to work autonomously on behalf of the state staff in being able to do things like things that are data intensive, so task execution, language translation, but it's always with a human in control.
I have never heard a Minecraft analogy used for agentic AI, but I think it should be done more often. That was really helpful, and I appreciate that. I think the Iron Golem one is a good example because these two, we'll call them agents for now, have been given different conditions and different kind of rules and guidance for their role, but they don't have to consistently be. The player doesn't have to consistently be telling this NPC what to do all the time. They have a little bit more autonomy, which allows you, the player named Steve, I think you said, to do more with Steve's time and automate some other parts of Steve's life or work, in this case, in the Minecraft.
That's right, and it makes the game better.
Yeah.
So they do serve a purpose.
Yeah.
They guide instead of I don't know what to do, or the blank slate, or the new start program for a game to get you into it.
Yeah.
They provide that environment and help you on your quest and help get the coins or the goal, or deliver a better experience.
You really are empowering, in this case, the player character to do more. I think this is probably a good place, and I want to stay on this analogy if we can as we segue into the last topic I have. And since we're talking about AI, I did have Katie Ruck on here, the state's chief privacy officer, and we talked about responsible AI. I feel like responsibility, especially as public servants, as public stewards, as those of us who are focused on improving services to residents and protecting residents and their data, responsibility couldn't be talked enough about. And so could you tell me, maybe use the Minecraft analogy if it fits, but what does responsibility look like when it comes to the effective use of emerging technologies, or in this case, the effective and responsible use of artificial intelligence?
That's great, and it can't be talked about enough. And I did see the episode with Katie, and you and Katie did a great job of setting what the state's doing in that. If you look at Steve here, going back to the Minecraft, he represents human agency. So there needs to be a human in control, and the human, the staff, they are setting the direction, they're setting the strategy, and they're in control, and ultimately they're responsible. So responsible AI is you can't just let things loose, that there has to be a human involved in there. The state's done a fantastic job around looking at bias and deep fakes and putting guidelines in practice for responsible use. Putting reports out on procurement, equity, all the different aspects of AI and how it should guide it. I'd like to add to that everything we do in the state, we should ensure that's done with intentionality. You want to make sure that we're not just doing things for the sake of doing things. While you do want to innovate and have those sandboxes that we talked about, it should be tied back to what is the goal that we're trying to achieve with this, and how does it relate to a state goal, a public goal, something that's going to benefit residents of Washington and help out the state. Ultimately, what we want is for Steve here to be able to create villagers and iron golems and avoid creating creepers.
I'm assuming creepers are not. These are not.
The creepers are not the helpful
not friendly
ones.
NPCs.
That's right.
I like that. As you were describing that focus on responsibility, I'm reminded it's not just responsible use of AI. You could take that same set of principles around responsible and purpose-driven use of technology and apply that to the other use cases around seagrass or sensors measuring traffic and road health. So I'm reminded that those principles, while they a lot of times show up in AI guidance and standards and guidelines, also apply to other forms of emerging technology.
That's right.
That is fantastic. Excellent. I knew the Minecraft analogy was going to be good. I really thank you for being the final guest on the final episode of Between Two Nerds.
It's been my honor, Nick. Now let's go play some Minecraft.
Awesome. Thanks, James.